I'm Jess.
Hi, I am Rhiannon, and
And
welcome
welcome
to
to
our
our
circle.
circle.
So this is our first episode, well, the first episode that we're airing.
Yeah, we've done a couple of test runs.
And yeah, we're really excited to be starting. So happy New Year to everyone who is listening and watching. If you're watching on YouTube, hi, this is what we look like.
Well, don't get used to this setup because it's probably going to be without makeup most of the time.
So, of course, because we are in COVID at the moment, we are recording from home. We're doing episodes over Zoom. Hopefully this works and people enjoy. And if not, well, we're enjoying it. So
Yeah, we're just recording our conversations that we'd have anyway. So
exactly. And that's pretty much what this is all about. This is what our circle is. Jess, do you want to talk about why we're doing a podcast and why you're doing one with me?
Sure. So we've spoken about it for a while. I think it was more kind of in jest, like we were just talking like, do you know what, we should make this into a podcast. But it never really came to fruition until recently. We were like, right, let's just bite the bullet. I think that was kind of what a lot of 2020 was about. I'm sure you'll get into that either this episode or later on about your own business, but this is kind of an extension of that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So we just decided, why not, basically. What's the worst that could happen? We're just speaking our minds like we normally would do, but maybe we should invite other people into our circle. And I also think we are quite excited about speaking about new topics that we might not have covered before and learning new things. And I wanted to do it with you because you're my best friend and we've known each other for years and years and years. So, yeah.
So yeah, what Jess said, a little background actually to who we are. So I'm Rhiannon. I go by being Rhiannon on social media. A little bit from what Jess has said, I have started my own business, but this has sort of been, I guess, long overdue and in the making. I'm an artist. I'm on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for a while. I studied sort of creative things at university. I did a media arts degree. So my whole background is all just like creative stuff. But I have many other interests too, which we'll talk about. So yeah, and I just thought this is another great avenue to be creative. And I'm really into being actively like spoken about like human rights and climate change, all those sorts of things online. And I thought this could be a great way to do this with my best friend. And we are people who have very deep, strong feelings about so many things, as does everyone. But it's just sort of interesting to have these discussions with people. And I really look forward to inviting people on the podcast to talk about those too. I'm based in London, or just on the outskirts. My family is a mixture of British, New Zealand, Samoan. So that's sort of me in a nutshell, I guess. Jess, yourself?
My whole life at the moment is being a mum to my toddler, Mila, who is 15 months old.
Can we just get a round of applause for 15 months old? Yay. Well done you in a pandemic.
It's been tough. But yeah, so I am half Ukrainian, half Welsh. That's where my family are from. I really enjoy cooking. That's something that I've really got into recently. In fact, I have some carrot cake muffins ready to go in the oven after this.
Oh my gosh.
But they're like baby friendly ones.
Such a domestic goddess. My goodness.
I know. And it's just something I really get a lot of pleasure out of doing. I think it's also like it's something I get time to myself to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of when Mila's asleep or when Joe's got Mila, then
can I just say how much I love that that's switched, because you did not enjoy cooking for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I've always loved food, but the cooking side of it, like I'd much rather someone cooked for me. But I think now that we're in our own house, it's kind of like my domain. It's kind of like, right, this is my space now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually get a lot of pleasure out of it and get a lot of pleasure out of Mila eating it as well. I find that is the biggest compliment ever if she enjoys and eats my food. So yeah, that's kind of like my hobby at the moment, is cooking. Pre-Mila, I used to really enjoy going to the gym. I used to go to the gym about 3 times a week. And that was more for like keeping my sanity and my mental health in a good place. but obviously that's kind of not happened. Well, first of all, after having Mila, I found that quite difficult because I was still am breastfeeding, so it wasn't really possible to sort of disappear for like 2 or 3 hours. But yeah, obviously in the past year I've not been able to get back into it because of pandemic stuff. So that's something I'm looking to kind of bring into back into my life as Mila's getting older and I have a little bit more time. But that's kind of me in a nutshell at the moment.
I think Jess also gives a lot more of a psychological approach to these conversations. Probably she is definitely the I think we both cover the overthinking to an expert degree, like beyond belief. But I think my sort of approach to learning about stuff is pretty much like, oh, cool, how's it done? Like whatever. Whereas you're like, why?
Yeah, like what's the root of that? Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, tell me how it's done so that I can learn literally. And I think I'm more of a visual learner and like a do it yourself sort of learner, whereas I think you like to know the whole like reason of why should I be doing it.
Yeah, I like to get into it quite like deep reasoning, I think. Yeah, but that's
which is
I
great.
don't even know, a lot of the time I don't even realize I'm doing it, but I think it's because I have a psychology degree, so that's
I just needed
obviously the foundation of it. Yeah so I'm sure that will come into it. I'm sure I'll bring that kind of element to some topics, some questions, some guests. I'll try not to probe too deeply if they're not comfortable with that. But yeah, I'm so excited to get started, and I think we're probably going to start with like our own topics before bringing in some guests. But when we do bring in some guests, we're going to introduce, I guess, our own personal circles as well, coming in,
absolutely,
sort of merging together with our own.
We have quite a few people already lined up, surprising. Can I just say as well, I know that this is like on the grand scheme of things and the scale of everything, obviously we're very, very small, we're just starting out, but the amount of like support people are showing for this already, like through DMs and texts and everything, it's really, really sweet. So thank you everyone who is listening already for something that has only just begun. It really means a lot. And it is literally us just inviting you into our circle just to chat and just listen to what we're chatting about. We are people who just tend to just talk about absolutely anything and everything. So I hope that this would be some sort of inclusive discussion for everyone, you know. And I'm saying a lot, so that's going to stop.
Yeah, it's not all going to be super serious. There's going to be some like fun chats, some chats maybe about some shows that we're enjoying, or, you know, we're going to try and talk about all aspects of our life. I might speak a bit about parenthood, and we might invite Joe, like my partner, onto the show to talk about his experience as well. And also, if anyone's listening and they want to come onto our show and we haven't said anything to you, I mean, please get in touch and come on. And
even if you're someone that we don't even know, please like message us on Instagram. We're on Instagram. It's at our circle podcast. So yeah, follow us, give us a DM, and we'll be really interested to have you on and see what you want to talk about. So I think because it's the new year, it's kind of fitting to talk about New Year's resolutions. I feel like people really hate resolutions or talking about resolutions. I don't know where you stand on this.
Yeah, really interesting, because I think this year especially I've seen a lot of anti-resolution posts,
right? Everywhere.
A lot on social media about how they're quite harmful, I would say, and how they're like a lot of sort of positive things out there being like, you don't need to be a new person coming into this year.
Also, newsflash, you can't be a new person. You are you.
You can't flip a switch overnight, can you?
You are you.
But, yeah, exactly. But I'm in two minds about it, because I think if that gives you some sort of hope or some sort of drive to kickstart something that you've wanted to do for a while, or something that's going to be beneficial and healthy for you, what is wrong with doing that? I don't see anything wrong with that.
I couldn't agree more.
But if it's coming from a place where you're really unhappy with yourself and you think that this goal needs to be reached in the new year, otherwise I'm not going to like myself, or I'm doing something self-destructive, then I don't agree with it. But I think it's all individual. I don't see anything wrong with goals. I saw our friend Laura post today on her page, Fern Designs today. I think it was like some, I don't know if it was Monday motivation or if it was like New Year's
I think
goals.
it was January goal, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah, January goals. And I thought those were really like achievable.
That is the key word
goals.
There for me.
Yeah.
I think New Year's resolutions need to be achievable and attainable. There's nothing wrong with something that you've got to challenge yourself or work for. But when you're like, oh, like I want to lose 5 stone by this point or something, it's like, well, 1, that's a lot of weight. 2, that's not really healthy, like to try and do it that quickly. And also, I don't know, I just feel like it needs to be on a sort of attainable level. I think that's definitely what people get confused by.
Yeah, so I love that idea of like I felt like Laura was pushing herself and she was very motivated from a business point of view. But it didn't seem, like you said, unattainable. It was, I think it's a good thing to set yourself goals. I think you should do that push yourself in life. I definitely think you need to do that. But like I said, if it's going to lead to sort of self-hatred, and I think that comes a lot from this fitness, dieting kind of culture that hits from 1st of January, where you think, right, I've indulged so much over the festive period, I must go to the gym, I must, start cutting out all things that I like.
It's interesting. I find it interesting that diet, like the word diet as well, is the first thing that comes to mind when people think resolutions, or it seems that way anyway. And I think, like you said, it's because of that season of overindulgence and stuff. But it's sort of like, I have the issue of, why is there no balance? Like, why is it such an overindulgence that, I completely get clean, healthy eating. I'm one of those people usually, but it's sort of, I think I have to sort of remind myself that if I want to eat something that's nice, I don't have to feel guilty for it, as long as I'm still trying to, maintain fitness and being healthy throughout the rest of the year and stuff. Like, it's all about balance, isn't it? And moderation. It just seems crazy that this holiday season is when everyone just goes a bit mental with what they eat and put into their body, and then straight after they're like, right, now I've got to try and like prove why it's okay that I do that. I don't know, I find it kind of bizarre in some ways. I
think, I guess because you're quite an all-round like healthy eater, and I mean, you've got your page being Rhiannon Bakes, where you are pretty much all plant-based recipes and stuff. I think you've always been very conscious of like what you're putting into your body. I think because you're already doing that all year round, for you it's kind of like, well, why aren't you doing it all year round? Like, you can. But it's accessible.
I do understand, like, because I'm not innocent in this. I ate like 2 mince pies nearly every day for the last month. Like, that's not normal, but at the same, like, it's not my norm of all year round. But my first thought for New Year's resolution wasn't, I mean, working on fitness is definitely one of it, because it's completely lapsed during COVID, let's be honest. But it wasn't like the top priority of my resolution, shall we say. So I don't know, I just think it's interesting how the society that we're in is very focused on diet, I think, is where I'm getting at.
I think, it's just a lot of visual, isn't it? It's everyone's on social media, everyone's on Instagram mostly, and I guess everyone wants to look their best. So
and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I just think the whole diet element that people seem to I think if the word wasn't diet, I think people wouldn't have an issue with it. Do you get what I mean? Like, I feel like when people hear the word diet, they think that means you are going on a diet. And it's like, diet just means what you eat, what you consume. That's all it is.
It has got negative connotations, you're right. Yeah, definitely. It means, diet to me, first word, even though I know once you stop and you think about it, it's not what it means, but first thing that comes to my head is like restriction.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of people think. Whereas to me, diet has always meant what I'm eating. So like, I almost picture a plate, like
Like
as
balance of,
yeah, like
yeah.
what is my, and I don't mean it's not balance, but like I mean it like, okay, so this is my plate, what does my diet look like? Well, it's heavily like based with this and it's heavily based with this, blah blah blah. Whereas I
Mm.
think, like you said, other people think restriction.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think we can have a whole other
Oh yes,
conversation,
you're
but
right, bring it back in. What I was actually getting at, I've saved this post that I found on Instagram by Jen, is it Jenna Atkin or Jen Atkin, the hair person for like the
yes, Jen
Kardashians?
Atkins. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. She posted this. I don't even follow her, but I think someone else, when you share it on your story and someone shares it, someone shares it, someone shares
Yeah.
it. Anyway, I saw it. She basically posted this template that she uses every year. And instead of resolutions, it's intentions. And she sort of she wrote it out. I will share it with you and put it on the screen for everyone. It's written as 2021 intentions. What would I do if there was no way to fail? And then she's put 6 months, be, do, have. So what would she be in 6 months, do in 6 months, have in 6 months? And then she's done the same for 12 months. Then you go to the next page. She says, I want to quit, I want to learn, I want to try, I want to have, I want to start, I want to continue, I'm going to stop, and I want to be. So it's like the idea that you write something next to all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And she does another thing where it says personal 1 2 3 4, health 1 2 3 4, career 1 2 3 4, recreational, home, and spirituality. And then she would basically write something next to all of those things. So that's basically the template she had. And I thought that was, I think I really prefer the word intention rather than resolution.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Because to resolve something means that something was really wrong in the
Right.
first place, whereas an intention to change something means that I think I'd like to tweak this slightly. If that doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world,
Right.
but I'd like to give that a go. So I'm definitely on board with using that terminology rather than resolution. That's
Yeah.
probably more positive. I think people are putting a little less pressure on a resolution because they've not been able to maybe resolve last year's ones
Yeah.
because of the restrictions that we've had this year. And I think that's healthy in a way.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. Intentions are better. So what are yours? What have you made?
I haven't completely like sat down with myself to write any down, which I usually do. I do usually try and set something, and they are usually more intentions than rather than resolutions. And it's always like the same sort of thing. Like it's to maintain fitness and to have a healthy mind, or like try and be kinder to my mind. The main thing that I had for the last 2 years was be more like of an activist, which I feel like I've done as best as I can through the pandemic on social media anyway.
I can safely say I think you can give that one a tick.
So I guess it's maintain it.
Yeah.
But I really want, this might sound strange to listeners, and it's probably going to have to be another episode, but I really want to be okay with the word routine. That's like
Yeah.
my sort of goal for myself this year, because I think it's going to really help. And then just honestly, it's just more focus on like making myself feel balanced with mental health and physical health, because I don't think I have that balance. I think I'm either really, really physically healthy and mentally unhealthy, or I'm mentally healthy and physically unhealthy. So I'm trying to find a balance. I know it might not seem it, but I don't feel it. So I want to find some sort of connection to myself physically and mentally, and be okay with the word routine.
Do you mean as in the connection between the two, as in if you were to not be able to do one, like as in not be able to physically go and do some exercise, that's okay mentally? Or
No, I think what I mean is over the last few years, or pretty much throughout all of my teenhood, I was horrific mentally. Like my anxiety and depression was awful, and I didn't have great coping strategies for them. I don't think I was just having panic attacks all the time. And then throughout most of my adulthood so far, it's been me working on myself mentally, like therapy, or learning how to self-soothe and how to stop panic attacks and minimize panic attacks from happening, things like that. And then the focus wouldn't be on, making sure to exercise or something. So
right.
I feel like I'm easily distracted, and I don't put attention on both. So that's what I need. I need to be able to have both. I need to be physically active, one, to just maintain being healthy mentally, or to help having a healthy mentality or whatever. But also like it's just good to be physically healthy.
Yeah, I think like doing them in tandem and maybe realizing that being physically more fit will help that like without even realizing will help that mental side,
which seems weird when you think about how I was as a teenager, like as in I was physically fit but I wasn't mentally okay. But what I mean was because I wasn't thinking about my mentality. I wasn't thinking about self-care as a teenager or anything.
No.
Which is weird because you kind of would think a teenager all they do is think about themselves.
Isn't that strange? I was thinking about that the other day, like, again, this is going to be so random, but just being at school and not really ever thinking that, like, about the teachers, that they are people and they have their own lives outside of school. Like, I thought the other day, I was like, this is mad. I guess without even, you didn't really think like, oh, that person might have their own problems at home, or like they might be stressed because of like their kid or something. Like, you would never think that at school. You just be like, oh god, like Miss is being a bitch today. Like, you take it really personally as if like you're a big part of their life, and it's like, why would I think that? Like, that's just crazy. But when you're a teenager, you just think about yourself all the time, like intricate details that no one else even notices about you.
I think I think that changes as you get older, but in a different, like, there's still that element of that there, like, but it's channeled differently. Like,
I feel it's a bit quieter, like,
your insecurities or whatever, they change to something else.
Yeah, and I think definitely becoming a mum, I just don't care as much anymore. I really don't. Like, my appearance, whatever, like, I don't care. I personally, I'm at a healthy weight. I'm actually okay with my figure. I think I obsessed with it way more before I was pregnant, or even when I was pregnant. I was like, oh my god, my body is changing so much. I'm again, we'll talk about this in much more length. I know we keep saying that, but it's just showing you that we have lots to talk about.
We really do.
But also, like, now I'm just like, cool, like, I'm really not the focus right now. I'm eating healthily, I'm putting good things in my body, because just for my own health, but also because I'm feeding my baby, so I need to. But like, who cares if I have a little bit? I have a little pouch, but you know what, I had a baby, it's fine. Or like my hair, I don't care if my hair's wild, that's okay. Mila looks great today, or is happy, she's fine. I don't know if this is true, but it was something I worried about before having Mila, was that I hope that my friends or just people in general don't feel like they can't talk to me about certain issues that are going on in their life, because they think that it's going to be minuscule in comparison to, or not an issue in my mind because of what's going on with me. I love normality. If my friend was to come to with an issue or like a boy problem, oh my god, for me that's like,
they're like living for it.
Yeah, honestly, like, not in a rude way, like, I don't want anyone to be upset about anything, but I'm like, please talk to me about this. This is like, you know, like what I would have done pre having Mila, like that's still part of me. I still love to talk about things like that,
and I think this is why having this podcast is going to be great, like, for us.
It's come full circle. We're not just chatting shit.
Yeah, we will try our hardest to be able to like make everything, pardon the pun of it being called a circle, but like we will try and make things come full circle and not completely just go off and not come back. We will try and make these conversations work.
Exactly.
So on that note, I think what we will do is start to wrap this up, but what we want to, our intentions for our episodes, we would like to end each episode where we either promote or shed light to a small business or an organization or a charity, just because, you know, times are hard right now, people. And I think because we're wanting to have so many different guests on as well, we want to have them do the same. We would love for people to write in and tell us, you know, about small businesses that you want us to talk about and learn more about. I love the idea of getting to help as many people as we can through this, and we're not going to be stingy. Like, if there's like 5 of you who are desperate for us to talk about it all in the same episode, why not? We're so happy to do so. So that is how we plan to end every episode. And on our YouTube video version of this, we'll make sure to plug everything with the Instagram handles and website information. Yeah, everything that you need to know. So I think Jess would like to plug her mama's business today.
My lovely mum. She's probably listening. Sorry for swearing, mummy. Yeah, so at Nina's Flowers. Nina's Flowers is a business that has come out of COVID. So, you know, my mum started a online flower arranging course, and she's always had an interest in it, but not really ever pursued it. And she just sort of took the plunge with a lot of encouragement from us. It started off with sort of bespoke floral arrangements, and then as we approached Christmas, it was Christmas wreaths, potpourri, table arrangements. So my mum does tailor things to what people like, if there's a special order you'd like to do for someone. But there's also some products on her website as well. So definitely go and check that out. They're really classy. They're really, I think, reasonably priced, considering the amount of effort and time that goes into it. And, you know, it's a small growing business. So really appreciate it if you go check it out, or just think of us if you need to buy someone something personal and lovely that'll make them smile. Flowers make everyone smile. So
they really do. So that's at Nina's Flowers on Instagram and on Facebook. And what's the website?
The website is www.ninasflowers.co.uk.
Perfect. And I'm only going to do this once and then forever it will be everyone else, but I'm going to plug myself. I have an art business. It is me. I'm a painter and a bit of a creator, as I've said already. And my website is beingrhiannon.com, but you can go straight to Instagram. So I have 3 accounts. I've got Being Rhiannon, which is just me. Being Rhiannon Art, which is my art business. So you can go on there, see things. It takes you straight to my Etsy shop as well if you want to buy stuff. If you want bespoke orders, you can DM me. I do paintings for people. Jess has a painting. I'll just put a photo up on the screen now for our visual listeners or watchers or whatever. But yeah, so I'm going to plug that. I also have, like Jess said, my baking one. That's only if you want to see what I cook. But yeah, so
you want to see what she cooks.
Being Rhiannon Art, that is my business. I started that also this year during COVID. It had been sort of ongoing as just like a project thing, like the Being Rhiannon Bakes. It was just to show people what art I'd created, but I realized a lot of people had wanted to buy my art, which was really flattering and really sweet, and I thought, well, why not? So that is currently my full-time job, and I would like it to remain that way along with the podcast. So please check that out at Being Rhiannon Art. And that's that. Okay, first episode. We're done.
Thank you for coming to our circle.
Yeah, thank you so much. Make sure to follow us on social media and to share these podcast episodes with your friends and family. Like them, share them, subscribe, all of those things. I don't know what else we're missing out. Is there anything else that you have to do?
No, I think that's all. Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
Comment if you want.
Yeah.
Please be nice.
We will hopefully have the next episode out next week. We're planning to try and get as many of these done as possible for you. I know a lot of people are excited to just amazingly listen to us. So we're going to try and do so, and hopefully you enjoy. Thanks for listening.
Yay. Have a nice day.
Bye.